as time flies by, you'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna go your way. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, 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 it's a brand new day. Life sways.
So this gentleman here, his name is Maurice Bolan, and he basically started off media, English media in Marbella, and he started off talk radio, and I worked with him in iTalk in the Kempinski, and that's where I started on the radio. And I saw that the fact that I had a radio show, people started being nicer to me. And that was ridiculous, because in my real life, I work with children and I do really good work. But that's kind of expected. But because I had a radio show, suddenly I got free dinners, free drinks, and that was really cool, and it made me sick to my stomach. But then I realized that we could use this for good, that I could use this position to actually share messages. Michelle Euston not only has given us the pages in the Euro Weekly for the supporters of the Zero Hero and the volunteers, Marbella Rocks also giving us 3 pages for June, but Michelle suggested that we contact real estate. Vanessa Van Kamp's here, she's also the Belgium Business Community Club Spain president. Maurice is real estate. And what Michelle Euston said, which is really smart, the first introduction to Marbella, to people living here, comes through the real estate. So when they arrive, if we introduce them to our community, that they are buying into a way of life, and into a community, there is far more chance that they will sound on the town padron and that they will play the game if from the very beginning we give them this information. So Maurice, I'm very grateful for you coming out of retirement from the media. We'll give a few minutes. Again, I'm going to be grabbing the microphone.
I'm not retired at all. Just quickly, I congratulate, and I think we should really put our hands together for Nicole for the wonderful work that she has done. She was a mere child when she came to me in the radio station and said that she'd like to give it a go, and she gave it a go, and she hasn't stopped since. But just let me tell you something about charity and how we can help. Many, many years ago, I think the first thing I did was for Somalia. We were looking at the starving of Somalia. And because Marbella is such a strong community, I was on Onda Thera Radio then. It was an extraordinary success, and we went on from that for raising money for Kudeka, which I was asked to help to put the roof on Kudeka. I think we raised one night 74,000 euros for that, and that was a lot of money in those days for Kudeka. This community is a very special community, and this girl is getting you all out and putting you all together, which is a fantastic thing. She mentioned real estate. Real estate, of course, is the first stop. All of us live or rent in a house here. And the more people that come into Marbella and live among us, the stronger a community we come. And I think that's an important point. But please, look to each other and remember there are people who need our help. For me, my latest, I suppose, job that I will do, or work that I will do, is helping David Toms. I don't know many of you know David Toms, but David Toms had this horrendous accident, and it can happen to any of us. Just walking along the road, this guy is paraplegic, I think he is, from the neck down. He needs money desperately, and I intend to see if I can raise some money to help him. But please, please be thankful of Nicole and the wonderful work she's doing. Thank you for inviting me.
Hey, hey.
Now, everything that goes on in Marbella to do with us foreigners lies on this lady's shoulders. Marty, come here a second, just so they can see you. Artie will be speaking in a minute, because everything we need, it's up to her, but she really can't cope. And Marty's worked for the town hall for 13 years. But it's election year next year. I have no idea how hard you're going to work for the next 13 months. So, on behalf of Marbella Now, you do so much, and no one even knows who you are. This is for you. This is the Marbella Now's Unsung Hero Award 2018 for you.
So much.
We have no idea what these people, Moises, what these people go through, and we complain about the town hall. I'm going to cry. I hear people putear the town hall every 5 minutes, which isn't nice, and it's not true. They really go above and beyond. Their jobs don't compensate the shit we give them, really. I shouldn't say that, but it's like, it doesn't. So this is Otti.
I can talk if you want now.
And she is in charge of all of us. She puts up with all the things we need, we want, and all they want is us to sign on the town register, do what we should. Come and live in the sun, okay, but that's in Spain. Otti.
Well, thank you very much, Nicole. Gracias. I just want, first of all, I wanted to tell you how I got to meet Nicole. I think it was 7-8 years ago, maybe, Nicole. The former Councillor for Tourism, José Luis Hernández, and I were working hard for this city. And of course, we promote Marbella in London, Moscow, Berlin. We go to all these tourism fairs to promote Marbella as a 5-star destination. But what do we do when the people come to live here? There's a residential tourism that is as important as the traditional tourism. So since 13 years ago, we started with this foreigners department. We are 5 people running it. So if there are 36,000 foreigners registered in the City Hall, just officially registered, just imagine 5 people taking care of all of you. This is impossible, okay? So what we do is that we work with all the foreign associations, as American Club, ELLAS, SVEA, the British Association, the French people, the Scandinavian. Many of you are very well organized in associations, and we work with these associations on a daily basis, okay? In fact, we organize conferences of all types. Later on, with the Chief of Police, the National Police arrives, he will tell you that we're going to have in May, June, September, October, and November several chats on the Brexit, on the Spanish taxes, how they affect you, on registration, on voting. The intention to vote is very important. There are 3 things that I want to tell you, okay? First of all, we're opening new offices for the Foreigners Department. They're at your entire disposal. I mean, we have 200 square meters in the 2nd floor of the exhibition center, Palacio de Congresos, where it's very easy to park, okay? And those 200 square meters are for all of you. You can go there to meet whoever you want to meet. You can go there to ask for advice, legal advice. We're going to have some lawyer companies working with us so they can help you at any time. And then on May 17th, I don't know what day of the week is right now, but it's a Labor Day. We want to have a meeting with all the foreign community in the exhibition center. The mayor has just called me before I came here and said, please, Otti, tell everybody that I would like to be with them at 6 p.m. on May 17th at the exhibition center. Anyway, we will make a press release and we will send you the information. I would really like to count with all of you over there, okay? I think it's important for you to know how the City Hall works. I don't want you to, how do you say, malinterpret. Misunderstand, sorry, what I'm going to say, okay? But I think you are all aware that in Marbella, even though we are 137 nationalities living together, we have like little ghettos, okay? The British community is apart, the German community is apart, the Scandinavian. So I think events of this type help us all to know that we can work all together, because I think the most important thing that has Marbella right now is all these foreigners from so many different countries living together on a cultural basis, on a professional basis, on an entrepreneur basis. I think we are the richest city in the world, because everybody wants to split now and we want to get together. So let's work for that, and I'm at your entire disposal for anything you might need, okay?
Hey, hey.
Princess Marie Louise of Prussia is married to Count Rudy. They have been promoting the Marbella Club since time immemorial. They really work hard and they're very charitable. Concordia is about AIDS. It's a major problem here. And if your daughter happens to go and hang out with a guy and shaves her legs with a razor that he used and he had AIDS, it's over. And we're not thinking like that. So more important, we have a very actually big problem with this. Ophelia?
Yeah. Maria Luisa of Prussia started the Concordia in 1994, 20 years ago. And it's still a big problem here in Spain. There's very little education about it, and boys think it's macho. It's not macho to wear a condom. And, you know, Concordia have a very big center in San Pedro where you can go and have a test there, and it's totally anonymous. I teach the children of families who have got suffering of AIDS, one in the family, and I teach them English and Spanish, and I help them with their homework. But I've been there 3 years, and I don't know anything about those kids, just as they come to lessons. So that's how private the association is. They raise funds through golf tournaments and galas, but the association gives them very, very little money. The Ayuntamiento gives them very little money, so they need to do all this. They hide their light under a bush, and luckily they have some very wealthy people who donate generously. So, you know, Concordia is there. People can go and have a test totally anonymously, and they're there for everybody. They'll take people from the street who have contracted the disease or the virus through drug addiction. They'll pick them up. They'll take them to the center where they can eat, have a shower, wash their clothes, and then they'll take them to hospital for their treatment. So they really, really work hard. There are 2 psychologists, a nurse, a social worker, and a director. And the center is in San Pedro. And everybody who wants to go for a test, all they've got to do is ring up, make an appointment, and they can do it.
Hey, hey.
Betty is into art and has spent many years again, community, getting things to do. No one ever needs to be alone. Oh, Hard Rock Cafe and other restaurants while we're here. One of the ideas of never being alone. One day I walked past a Chinese restaurant and there was 5 women eating alone at 5 different tables. And I thought to myself, again, being on my own, gosh, if we made a little section there and they were sitting there, as opposed to the 5 of them sitting alone, taking up 5 tables, if there was a section in the restaurant that meant if I sat in that section, I'd be happy for someone to join me, the 5 women could have had themselves a party, as opposed to the 5 of them sitting there looking at their phones. Little things like this, so the vulnerable, the old, we could maybe make places like that. A Wednesday is walk-in day. In the restaurants, for example. Okay, Bessie.
Yes. Hi, thank you very much. Right, I'm Betty. Thank you. From the Art Society in Benavice. Mainly we have talks on a range of cultural subjects, and we have 8 here once a month, and we've got one this evening on Neil Faulkner. No, it's by Neil Faulkner about Lawrence of Arabia. It's going to be hugely wonderful. But apart from that, what we also do is once a year we have an art exhibition, and we very much like to encourage young people to take part in art. So we have a competition for children to design our front cover of our brochure. And this has been, we're into our 4th year now, and it's hugely successful because the teachers love it, the children have to research the project, and they come up with some wonderful artwork. But also, the last one we had, which was in February, we had a children's workshop, and I'm talking little children, and it did your heart good. So if anybody's around or has got young children, in February next year, please come and join us.
And it's time